is why don't we look at a few of the different organizations and their perspectives and how they might benefit from Glimpse or a Glimpse-like capability. So first type of organization I want to talk about is service. And with service, our objective, if you will, is more than just client retention or customer satisfaction. Really what we're looking to do is create advocates for our products or services. And that's really what our goal is as a service organization. So, and in order to do that, we have to achieve kind of the optimum balance between quality of service and efficiency.
Okay.
We can optimize that balance by understanding, first of all, what is our target? What is the optimum target? And then once we know our optimum target, then we want to look at ways to invest in our people, our technology, or our processes so that we can make improvements to drive closer to our target.
Okay. So build the target and then build to it, establish the target and head toward it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, really quickly, because I wanted to piggyback off of something specifically that Dennis said. In the past, what you've seen a lot of focus with service centers has been specific to efficiency and cost. But, we are in a different sort of paradigm today. Customer experience is a lot more at the forefront, largely because you do have more hypersensitivity by customers to how they're being dealt with across the entire span of your organization. That would be all of your contact centers, whether it be calling in, say you have stores, kiosks, you have people visiting the house, you have your website, et cetera. And so you have to look at how all of those create an experience for the customer. And so it's been a lot more data intensive, where in the past you've looked at those in a siloed approach, maybe even have specific KPIs for each of those silos. And if you think you're meeting them all, that you're doing okay. But, the handoffs between those different silos may be causing angst and issues for the customer. And so, your NPS scores are low, and you need to find out what's driving my low NPS scores or my low CSAT scores, because my silo KPIs seem to all be good. And then you're also not just the sort of the hypersensitivity, but in the past, if there was a bad customer experience, it was sort of, if a tree falls in the woods, you don't know about it. People have the option now to go online and basically comment on the latest service debacle that they had with your organization. And so it's also very more public. And so you do have to be more abreast of what's going on intraday and then also in the past, and look for trends for where you have had issues in the past that could potentially become public. How do you sort of deal with those very quickly? How do you do prescribed steps that say this is an issue? How do we fix it quickly? How do we satisfy the customer quickly and efficiently? Because it is now an issue that can become public. And so it's not just that customer, but it gets spread out to the world, and then people can comment, oh, I had that same issue as well. So I think it's just also more sensitive.
Jason, I think that's accurate. I think it's even reflected in corporate culture, where many organizations have established a C-level office for customer experience, and the traditional CMO role has been divided between the customer experience person and perhaps a revenue officer. So it's transformational in terms of customers being able to communicate with each other through social media.
It is, and I'm glad you specifically mentioned the CMO. What you've seen historically is that marketing has always done an excellent job at saying, I'm going to put customers into different segments or personas or types, depending on nomenclature of the day you're using, and say, what treatments do we want to use to outwardly sell to them? And I think that's starting to turn inward to say, we also need to look at not just how we want to communicate to them for selling, but how do they want to be communicated to? How do they want to interact? Basically, when the customer is dealing with us, if they have service issues or questions, what is the most beneficial outcome that we see? And then how do we drive those communication channels for customers because that is their preference. And you can also turn that into how do you start segmenting, even within your contact centers? How do you start benchmarking performance within centers, not necessarily for personas, right? Because you won't be doing that for agent types, but you can look at performance groupings and saying, how do I start using certain agents in performance groupings as benchmarks? And then that saves time in as far as optimizing performance. How do we get agents that are lower in those groups to get to higher performance levels by using the other agents as examples?